the month of June. The calm before the storm. SNL, though, we never stop. Landry Locker, Cody Stutes with you here live. And I got to tell you, it is a little bit more relaxing knowing that CJ Stroud at least threw. Now, is concern about the shoulder eliminated? We'll get into that in a second. But I will say, I could not imagine what it would be like had he not thrown. And we had to wait, whatever it is, 40 days before the Texans start training camp, which we think will be on the 20. It's going to be like in the 20s of July, right?
It's always like the third week of July.
Yeah. So 23rd, something like that. 24th, maybe.
Something like there.
Yeah. So I will say, though, that the nerves are a little bit calmed with CJ Stroud throwing.
I would have been a little bit of a mess if he hadn't thrown before the summer, just because that would have been just the summer of shoulder speculation. I would not have handled that well. It just doesn't feel like that's something that you could just be like, oh, well, he'll just throw in training camp and there's nothing to worry about. Like, because that would have intimated that he hadn't been throwing, he wasn't gonna throw, and then we would have had question marks on how much throwing he would have done away from the football facility ahead of training camp. So for him to have thrown certainly just kind of eases my mind a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm still concerned about the shoulder, though, just because it's been a thing for a while. I am still a little bit concerned about the shoulder, but I'm not as concerned had I not seen him throw. So my shoulder worry on a scale of 1 to 10 is probably like a 5.5 or a 6.
Okay,
it's a little more than halfway, just because it's been something going on for a half decade, and just because we got a little bit of a glimpse of it. But it would have probably been a 9.5 had he not thrown. But the shoulder, I'll be honest with you, the shoulder concern is always going to be there with CJ Stroud for me, because look, if it's missing a game your first year at Ohio State, almost missing a game here and there, and playing through pain last year, it doesn't get any easier as you age and you get older, and we don't know if the offensive line is going to be better. So I think the concern is there. Is it panic? No. And I'm glad, because contrary to what CJ thinks, I would rather not talk about CJ Stroud's shoulder. It's much easier not to, because I got to start enjoying my Junes. Junes have driven me nuts the last few years, really my entire career. So I've got to start enjoying my Junes.
Yeah, I'm aware of how much June drives you nuts sometimes.
Try to overcompensate, man. I don't get in cruise mode, and then I just try to overcompensate, and it just drives me nuts, man. I'm not fun to be around in June. That's why I'm trying.
I will say for my concern scale, if he sort of intimated at this that he hurt himself working out. Like, this wasn't like, hey, I'm in a throwing session and my arm's a little tender. Like, he intimated that it was something that was from the offseason, not like a football thing that got hurt.
Every day it's just me and a pile of iron.
You got to learn from this. You got to make sure you don't get anywhere ever close to that situation ever again. You got to work with the trainers. You got to work with the lifting staff. You got to work with everybody to make sure that never pops up again, because that was something that is more than likely wholly and totally avoidable if you take enough care. My long-term concern about the shoulder, it's relatively low. It's just always going to be there. Like, it's popped up enough in his football playing career that it's just always going to be there. And, does this take him, is this something that at the end of his career, he can only play till he's 34 instead of 36 because of his shoulder? I don't know. Maybe. But I'd say somewhere around like 2.5 right now.
Oh, you're at 2.5. Okay. So it really helped you.
It helped me a lot. It helped me a lot. Yeah.
Obviously,
I'd have been like spying at NRG Stadium with like a telescope, trying to see if he walks into the facility to throw, if he hadn't been throwing before.
By the way, little known fact, Cody still has a telescope in his apartment, and it is pointed at other
that's not true.
And just so you know, he is, I know he's an old soul, and he's an old soul in more ways than one. He does have a telescope in his apartment. For some reason, it is right there at the window, pointed across to about
No,
a lot of other condos.
they give off a bad glare, so I don't use that for that.
Yeah. It's just
The binoculars don't give off the glare.
I don't really ask questions. There's some lotion sitting next to it too, and
That's
I
not.
don't really ask questions.
No, that's lubricant for the binoculars.
Okay. How do you think Stroud feels about this offensive line? He's a couple times that he's talked about it, and I talked about reading between the lines yesterday. D'Amico and Caserio have taken some shots at Nick Caley, and they've taken some shots at Laramie Tunsil. They can deny it, but Nick Caserio. No, Bobby Slow, excuse me.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, not Nick Caley. Let me start over there.
Damn it, Bobby.
They've taken some shots at Bobby Slowick, and they've taken some shots at Laramie Tunsil. I don't care what they say. They've been indirect, but they've talked about offensive line all working together. When I asked him about Trent Brown, he said, yeah, that's what vets are supposed to do. He's talked about how important it is for guys to be there, especially on the O-line. And they've talked about the square peg, round hole when it comes to Nick Caley, adjustments, all that type of stuff. They've taken some shots. CJ, when he talks about the offensive line, I think he kind of makes it very clear that it was not his idea. Like he's mentioned, yeah, Laramie Tunsil and Shaq Mason are still my guys. Said I didn't agree with it. He said a lot of things about it to kind of separate himself from all the decisions they made in March.
I'll tell you exactly where CJ Stroud is after we hear from CJ Stroud. Because I want to play both his comments from the offseason, both early in the offseason and from last week about the offensive line. So this was from earlier in the offseason, a little bit longer one. This is the one you just kind of referenced where he talks about, they didn't really ask me.
That's something I feel, is not my pay grade. It's just I'm just a quarterback, but at the same time, it's you build relationships with guys, and your LT, of course, who I know you're talking about, and Shaq. Those are two of my best friends, so that I've come into the league with. So yeah, it hurts. You know what I mean? Our front office knows that, and they know how I felt about it, and but I totally understand, and I'm not against it at all. I totally think that we're heading to the right side of things. And I think something I learned about Nick is that he has a plan. No matter what happens, he always has something up his sleeve. So of course sometimes we don't know what that is, and but you just have to have trust, and that's something that we actually talked about today, having blind trust and having earned trust. And for Nick, he's gained my trust in both areas. So I'm excited, but I'm always going to be best friends with those guys and rooting them on, and I still talk to them daily. So
that was not the most resounding review of what they did with the offensive line. And again, that's early in the offseason. I think they made like a one or two more moves since then. But that wasn't, if that was a Google review, that wasn't a 5-star Google review on this is what they did with the offensive line.
No, it's kind of a separated type of thing, and I think he wants to separate himself from that. I think there's a number of reasons. First of all, I guess he's close with those guys, which he just said. But also, he's about to have contract negotiations, and if it doesn't go well, then he can blame them. And the other thing is maybe he really didn't have an opinion on it, on the whole thing. So
yeah, maybe he felt like that wasn't something that he should have or wanted to weigh in on. Yeah,
I really don't. Yeah, I don't think he's overly thrilled, but I think I don't want to say it can't get any worse because
now that was early in the offseason. So this next clip's from last week. This is 5 open practices that we got to see in addition to all the other work that they've done. He's gone out there, thrown behind those guys for 2 days, and CJ, what do you think of the offensive line so far?
It starts here in the weight room. Big Pimo, he's done a good job of, staying on those guys, making sure that, they're working hard, and the mindset of the guys that we brought in, they had a mindset that they wanted to dominate up there. So I just think that relationship between, Big Pimo and them in the strength program, I've seen them, majority of them here all off season, and they've done a great job of getting stronger. And I've seen that, but also, just what they brought out to the field, and I feel comfortable back there. And, I still miss my guys from last year, but I think they're doing a great job, and, we'll be fine in that area this year.
Okay.
Hey, we'll be fine. Hey, they were in the weight room, Like,
Mhm.
not like, wow, they really got this thing figured out, or, oh, I feel real good
They
back
wouldn't be
there.
able to figure it out right now, though.
Like I mean, again, there's a limit to what they can glean from.
But I would rather have
something
this.
close.
I would rather have this, and I would rather have this authenticity from CJ Stroud than Deshaun Watson going up there after the Kansas City game where Bill O'Brien went water boy coach pre-championship game, peed his pants, and completely just melted down and got scared. And then Deshaun Watson goes up there and says, I'll go to bat for that guy any day. I don't care what y'all say. He's the best coach I've ever seen, blah, blah, blah. And then he only coaches 4 more games, loses all 4 of them because he never recovered from peeing his pants and embarrassing himself on national TV. So I would rather have CJ Stroud being a little bit skeptical about something that you should be skeptical about. You're skeptical about it. I'm skeptical about it. Everyone's skeptical about it. I would rather have that than CJ Stroud going up there saying, yeah, this is going to be a good offensive line. I'm going to ride and die with this.
And that's where ultimately it feels like to me where CJ is with the offensive line. He's in, I'll believe it when I see it mode.
Good.
And it's a good place to be, I guess.
Good. Like I say, like when these guys go up to the podium, they don't have to be honest with us. Just lie with a purpose. Sometimes you make a fool of yourself, and we'll call you on that, D'Amico, Casario. But hey, if CJ wants to go up there and be honest and say what all of us already know, which is that there's no reason to be optimistic about this offensive line, then thank you. Like I think that's fair. And by the way, he's the one getting his effing ass whooped behind these guys. So you and I get to sit there in the press box, or we get to sit there watching and typing and talking and all that type of stuff. He's the one who's getting roughed up behind these guys. So I don't blame CJ Stroud for feeling a little bit skeptical about it.
Yeah, this is I'll believe it when I see it territory for most of the Texans fan base, as well as the quarterback, CJ Stroud.
Yeah, because as much as we talk about it, like they invested all this in the offensive line, and the offensive line was one of the worst offensive lines in the league. And then all of a sudden they changed that offensive line, and you're going into the most important year of your life. Like this is 100%, like at this point, like as far as this is the most important year of CJ Stroud's life, assuming that he's going to get the contract extension. Like this is might already have generational wealth, depending on who you ask with the rookie deal. But this is like next level. Like this is getting up into like that top tippity top, $250 million north of that.
Well, it's easily a $30-40 million year of football, because I have every belief that CJ Stroud's going to get, at the very least, Trevor Lawrence's contract. If he has an amazing year, he might get Dak Prescott's contract. And so, the difference between that and over the life of the deal's another $40 million or so. So it's a huge year of football for him. It's a huge year of football for how this organization's operating and put together, and the group that they have and everything like that. It's also, $40 million year of football, because if he's awesome, this is really
okay. If he's even decent, like he's going to be a top 5 highest paid quarterback just because the market is, who his agent is, and he's negotiating with Casario, who doesn't really have very good negotiating skills.
I was looking through some of the fantasy football stuff that I was paying attention to today, and it was a breakdown of the Texans.
Studying?
Well, I just always there's something.
You're already studying. Okay, I see.
When there's something about the Texans, I peep it. I know I've been doing fantasy football for weeks now. You don't want to hear about it because it's dynasty. So,
I only have one league. It's the one you've been in for 15 years. So yeah, I don't count.
Yeah,
$500 buy-in this year, by the way.
But Stroud last year, amongst a lot of fantasy prognosticators, was a top 5 quarterback in average draft position.
Yep, I know.
He finished QB 28.
Yeah, I know.
No, you should actually probably be. You want me to send you the article? You could use a little June studying so you don't jack it up in August.
He will never be on my team again.
He
is on the never again list.
So he fell 23 spots from his average draft position to where he ended up at his position, which is huge. Nobody else amongst quarterbacks had more than a 14 spot drop. So, it really demonstrates where he was, how he fell off, how bad last year was. This year, the opportunity if the offensive line's a little bit better, the weapons are okay, and then Nick Haley's going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting in this because as you look around, yeah, the wide receiver room they transformed it because they had to, but if I'd be lying to you if I said, oh, I felt better about the wide receiver room right now than I did a year ago to the wide receiver room. Like a year ago, it was Nico Collins ascending, Stephon Diggs, still something left in the tank, and then coming off of rookie year back from the injury, Tank Dell. I was pretty excited about that wide receiver room a year ago. More excited than I am about this one. I'm pretty excited about this one. So it's like there's a lot of opportunity for CJ Stroud here in 2025. A lot of it's going to be more in his control, as he's talked about. He's going to have a little bit more control of the offense. Like Nick Haley's going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting. Like he's going to have to just be a lot better than Bobby Slowick, and that's going to have to be how they go from 2024 to a lot closer to what 2023 was.
See, it makes me kind of wonder if, and I don't know if fans want to hear this, but it almost makes me wonder, and I don't even know if this is the case, but you basically take one step back so that you can take two steps forward. In that, I think the Texans right now, there's more optimism for the type of football team they'll be in 2026, 2027. I'm not dismissing the possibility of them being really good in 2025, but we don't know what this offensive line is going to look like. It could very well be worse. The rookies could struggle. We don't know what it's going to look like. There's injury concerns with Christian Kirk, but the fact that you have at least started the development of the future offensive line, because Shaq Mason and Laramie Tunsil weren't going to be here much longer. Like even in the best case scenario, they weren't going to play football much longer. So you're going to have
2025 was probably their last year with the team anyway.
Yeah, you're going to have to replace them eventually anyways. So I think you can still be a better team because I think the defense is what I think is the straw that stirs the drink and the key to it. But as far as like a long-term potential, I think you're better equipped now a year or two from now than you would have been had you not made any changes. So we'll see what it looks like. I think it's intriguing. I think there's a lot of exciting possibilities, and I do like what they got. Cliff Hurd on the chat says Seth Payne seems to be confident in the offense. Seems to have confidence in the offensive line. I talked to Seth probably like once a week or something like that. I don't know if Seth. I think he's confident, but I also think that just from how I know Seth, and I know him pretty well, I think he's disgusted by someone who's not working as he's disgusted by the idea of one guy on a defensive or offensive line that's not working as a team. Because he was kind of that guy where extra block or whatever and stunts and all that. I think he's probably excited about the offensive line, but I think he's just really happy that he doesn't have to worry about someone selfishly getting false starts, guys working as a team and at least trying to be more synchronized and acting more like offensive linemen instead of like Willie Beeman and not making other guys better. I would say that's probably where Seth's optimism lies.
If somebody told me I'm more optimistic that they could put these pieces together and have a better offensive line than last year, even though the talent is lower, I could understand how that would work out. I'm not saying I totally would buy into that. That's obviously going to be what it's going to have to be, but I could see how that would be a path to an acceptable level of play from the offensive line.
On the soup.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Kyle Nance. I'll die if this O-line is good. I'm assuming that's what it says as well.
I think he's saying I'll die if this O-line is worthless.
Oh, well.
Or worse, he said. He corrected himself.
It'd
be hard for them to be worse. I think there's really only two. There's really only two teams like that. I mean, they were the 30th offensive line. Like, could they really be the 31st or 32nd?
I'll put it this way. This is the way I'll put it, and I think this is the good thing about the variables and in the art of football. Shout out to Austin Jack on the chat, HDAV Traveler, our guy. if they're coached, if this offensive line was going to be coached like last year's offensive line was, where it's just one-on-one battles, there's no help, there's no adjustments, you're not getting rid of the ball quickly, then I think there would be a chance they could be worse. But if they have an offensive coordinator that has some sort of grasp, some sort of ability to adjust, some sort of desire to change things up, then yeah, there is no way they could be worse. So I think it's kind of a Nick Caley thing. Like if Bobby Slowick were coaching this offensive line, I think there's a chance they could be worse.
Oh, sure. Yeah. If Bobby Slowick was still the offensive coordinator, my dauber would be way down on this team.
Yeah. And now he's he's carrying the vape for old McDaniel. He really is. You didn't see him the other day?
Damn it, Bobby.
Have you heard?
I'm being dead serious. He was on the side, and Mike McDaniel went like this, and he handed him the vape. I'm being 100% serious.
No, I know. I just think it's
High-grade marijuana called Kush on the streets.
It's hilarious to me, and I'd never heard this before, and I just started seeing it the past couple of weeks. Is people called their vape, they're like the Benjamin Franklin or something, because it's a vape pen, the Benjamin Franklin. That tickles me every time I read that.
You're very ticklish. I will say, good Lord.
Well, it doesn't make me laugh out loud. It just elicits a small chuckle, I guess I should say.
Oh, a tickle. Okay, gotcha. Just give it a little tickle. Just give it a little tickle, Cody.
I've asked for a little tickle before.
Give it a little tickle. Give it a little tickle. So Jonathan Alexander, who is kind of all over the stadium. By the way, no soda today? You're not drinking a soda? I see you drinking water. What's going on?
Well, it's the flavored water.
Oh, okay. Okay. Just making sure. I know you're addicted to those sodas, so I just want
I'm not addicted to them. Like
I want to make sure you're okay, sir.
I'm not addicted to them.
Okay. I'm just making sure. I like you hydrating over there, Cody. So Jonathan Alexander, he was all over the stadium.
There's 0 calories for the record. It's not like I'm drinking, like back in the day, it was bad. I was drinking a 3-liter Dr. Pepper every 2 days.
Oh, because the 0 calorie sodas are great for you.
Well, it's better than 150 calories and 40 grams of sugar. Yeah.
That kind of connects to it couldn't be worse on the offensive line theory that Cody's been throwing out right there with the sodies.
I mean, do you have any science to back up that I'm putting my life at risk by drinking these diet sodas?
No, and I'm the last person to talk about liquids putting your life at risk with my past energy drink addiction. Anyway, I digress. Jonathan Alexander says the Texans could move quickly into a new headquarters and that the venue could be decided on relatively quickly. He was also on top of the new stadium / upgrades talk. I will say this means that they know where they want to go. This means they know where they want to go. I didn't read the article because I do not subscribe to the Houston Chronicle. I do not think that is something that I would do. But I do follow Jonathan Alexander's work. And I know you're a Houston Chronicle subscriber.
Nope, I am not. Mike Florio recapped it on Pro Football Talk, so I read it that way. Here's what this is. Here's what this is. This is the Houston Texans telling everybody that's involved in this, you better get your best offer in right now. Because we got one that we like, but if you want to give me one that we love, we'll be happy to have that conversation with you. That's what this was. You know, and Mike told me.
You don't think they have a spot? You think they're trying to get a spot?
No. I think they have an offer that they like and they'd be very comfortable moving with and using and going that way. But this is just hey, last offers. Get your best offer in. And if you don't beat this one, we're going to go with these guys. That's what this is.
Where do you think they end up? Like, where are we going?
I actually believe Harris County is going to come up with
where
I don't know where, but I believe Harris County is going to come up with the money to convince them to stay in Harris County.
Please get out of. Just don't go downtown. Downtown is terrible.
Downtown would suck if they got the downtown.
Yeah, I don't think there's even any space there for that.
It's worth noting Harris County is enormous.
No, I know.
Like Harris County reaches all the way out into a portion of Katy. Harris County. Harris County reaches out to Tomball, Spring, Hockley, Humble, Atascocita. Like, it's humongous.
Yeah, let's go out there.
But I believe Harris County will come up with the money and they will stay in Harris County somewhere. And I would tell you somewhere off of I-10 in one of those big areas of just open land that you see.
Put it by the race park. Put it by the race park.
Next to Andretti.
Yeah, put it next to the race park, baby.
Yeah, they just opened a Portillo's out there too.
Yeah, put it out there.
They got the golf thing out there, Pop Stroke. So you could almost latch on to what's already built out there if you're the Texans, in addition to building all of your own new stuff. I mean, they would obviously do some hotels out there, some more restaurants.
And do they got it like that though? Like I get a kick out of when the Texans try to point to what the Cowboys got and act like they got it like that. I don't know that. I don't think y'all got it like that.
But hold on. You can simultaneously want what the Cowboys have and understand that you can't replicate what the Cowboys have.
I mean, you're talking about building the hotels and all that type of stuff. Sure. I mean, that's cool. I just don't know that they got it like that.
You say they don't have the money, or they don't have the smarts to come up with it. Like,
I don't think y'all have the pull. I don't think y'all have the. I don't think that y'all have it like that.
What do you think they have? What do you think they're missing into, like, they don't have it? What is it?
Have you ever been to the Star?
Yeah, I've already said they're not going to be able to replicate what the Star has.
No, I know, but like the Star is like it's that place, that shopping center is built off of the Cowboys. Like when you go there, everything is Cowboys. Like it's whether you go in the restaurant, whether you go in the store, whether you go in, it's built off of the Cowboys. That's what they're trying. That's what they're basically talking about. And I don't think y'all got it like that. I'm saying y'all, like Cal and Hannah, and like the way that their business department works. I just don't know. I support building a facility. But I mean, I don't know that y'all are like going to be able to build some sort of thing that is just going to blow up as a result of the Texans' name. Y'all haven't done it yet. Y'all gotta win at a higher level.
I think you're thinking too narrow about this. Like, it doesn't have to be Texans branded everything. They could just put a bunch of nice restaurants and a really nice hotel and a couple of nice shops out there, and you could make it sort of a destination shopping, dining, entertainment facility. It doesn't have to be, the Houston Texans grand facility. Like, it could just be, hey, we brought these great companies. And like, I mean, think about how, like, the Galleria right now, like it's everybody's like scared to go to the Galleria.
You should be.
If you created a Galleria-esque level of
without Westheimer traffic and all that.
Right. Yeah. Like, if you created a destination shopping, dining, entertainment facility,
I feel you.
It doesn't have to be I agree with you. I don't think, like, hey, the Texans, this is going to be like some like awesome, like, extra to it. But if you build like a cool ass place,
I feel
people want to go. Like, I think they can do that.
I just keep hearing Star and stuff, and I'm just like, and that's been. I think Cal and Hannah even said, like, and I'm like, well, I mean, that's a lot different, man. Like, that the whole city blew up because the Star was there. Like, that's not going to happen if you put the Texans practice facility there.
It's not. It's also like the area of town that we're talking about them going is not what Frisco was when the Cowboys got out there.
They're asking who y'all is. I'm talking about the people who are who have this vision. I'm talking about Cal, Hannah. Help me out with the guy's name.
Mike Toman.
Yeah. It's not like that.
Now I mean, Toman used to work for one of Jerry's companies. So
yeah. He's a smart SOB and knows what he's doing. So I think he's the right guy to do it. And I think he knows. I mean, if anyone I'm not telling him anything he doesn't know. So we'll see what the vision looks like. We'll see what it is. To me, the biggest damn shame here is just how bad the surroundings are at NRG. And that's another issue on itself. I mean, I guess they're starting renovations this summer for the World Cup. So they're going to have grass. They're going to do all this stuff for the World Cup. And there's going to be some renovations and stuff, but it's just kind of a shame when you go to a game, there's nowhere to like really stop and get a drink or walk around. And, outside of some tailgating and stuff, that's really the damn shame. That probably bothers them a tad and a little bit. But when I say y'all, I'm talking Cal and Hannah. So I'm not talking about talking down to anyone. I don't think that's just like we used to get kind of annoyed when there was like a desire to copy the Patriot way from a football perspective. Like you got to have a little more in the game before you start saying we want what they have out there and at the Star. That's all I'm saying. But
yeah, I mean, if you try to copy the Cowboys, it's not going to work out for 99% of the teams.
Austin Tucker says, is the Star where Texas Live is? Because we need Texas Live set up. That's not even Texas Live. The Star is in Frisco. The Star is like 40 minutes away from where their stadium is. They put Texas Live out there, which is like a badass spot, like in the middle where you can go hang out before the games. That's not even that. So that's basically where the Astrodome is for them. Like they actually have like a functioning spot, which I think the Texans could probably use as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see there's nowhere around there that they're going to want to, like right around where the football stadium is, that they're going to want to put the stuff. So it's going to be somewhere else in Harris County. If it stays in Harris County, again, that's my prediction, is that the county will come up with the money, the conversation, the contract, whatever the holdup is, they'll come up with what they need to keep the Texans in Harris County.
Yeah, and I would trust your prediction very much. To be completely honest, on the soup.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
3-1, he says the Texans, Rockets, and Astros should have a venue together. I don't know about that.
Multi-merchandise. Well, I am fascinated to see what Crane eventually does with all that area and stuff that he bought up across the highway.
See, I trust that Crane's going to make the right call.
Well, he also said
he wants to build up the area around too.
He was working. He's working from a point ahead of where the Texans are from what they're working with in the area around them.
Well, and also they have a lot of sweat equity because of all the winning they've done and all that. So, see what happens with old Jim.
I'll be intrigued to see what he does with it. I mean, they just got those giant lofts and stuff just hanging there, just doing nothing. They just knock it down, build something cool.
Well, that wouldn't be very Houston of them, man. Let's be honest.
What?
To knock something down that's old and build something better. That's not very Houston. That's not very downtown Houston, Harris County of them, Cody.
I got to imagine Jim Crane didn't operate that way. A lot easier to.
Jim Crane tore down a mansion in River Oaks to build his own house, and people were pissed.
And Crane didn't give a damn.
Yeah, he tore down a damn mansion in River Oaks, and people were pissed, and then he just built his own. Kyle Nance says, any chance? I don't know why I got so fired up about that. I just think it's badass to be able to do something like that. Kyle Nance says, any chance Stover takes over Schultz for tight end 1? Yeah, there's a chance.
I'd say a really small one.
Yeah,
I mean, could he be on the field a bunch? Certainly. I don't believe Cade Stover could catch Dalton Schultz in receiving prowess this year.
Yeah. I mean, but crazier things have happened.
Sure.
Joshua Farron says on the 26-27 comment, which defensive playmakers do you think will still have or lose? I know we have huge contracts. Okay. By 26 and 27, I mean, you're still going to have Kamari. You're still going to have Bullock. I mean, you're not really in much jeopardy.
26, you haven't lost anybody.
Yeah, you really haven't lost anyone. 27 really either, because those two guys are on their final rookie deal. Will Anderson's probably getting broke off. Maybe not Daniil in 27.
Yeah, Daniil in 27. He's still here in 26, though.
Yeah, he's in 26 because they just gave him that extension. But 27, maybe no Daniil.
Yeah, maybe no Daniil in 27, and maybe no Aziz in 27.
Yeah, I don't know if that counts, does it? I mean, that's good players. That they can find an Aziz.
I mean, he makes $11 million a year, so I mean, it's not. I mean,
no, I know they can find an Aziz though.
Maybe,
perhaps.
We go back to a year ago. You thought he wasn't any good at football.
I didn't say that. I just kind of respected Blake Cashman more than you. Patrick Ding says I can quit whenever I want. Talking about your Coke addiction. Sodas, by the way, not cocaine.
It's Coke Zero.
It's not.
It's not Diet Coke. Diet Coke's gross.
All right. Anyway, the next topic. Speaking of food, speaking of June, speaking of downtime, Cody Stutes presents the game that is sweeping the nation.
So it's Texans players as fast food orders.
Texans players as fast food orders. Okay.
Texans players as fast food orders. I'll give Landry the Texans player. He'll give me what fast food order they are.
Oh, okay. I like this.
Okay,
and I am
you ready?
not prepared for this at all. I will be able to provide you with the right answers here.
You ready?
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Let's start with Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk, the wide receiver the Texans added via trade this offseason.
Christian Kirk is a KFC extra crispy 3-piece. He was pretty good a while ago. You still have hope for him. You don't completely dismiss him. When it hits, it hits. Sometimes you kind of feel like getting it. Quite frankly, the side's kind of like cheapish, but it has that good feel, but it can do the job. He's not the old school KFC hot wings because those are some of the best things in the game, but he's a KFC 3-piece.
Okay, I like this. What's the side? You're getting this. What's the side?
Matt, he's got to go mashed potatoes with gravy and mac and cheese, which is hit or miss. That's the other thing. It's hit or miss at KFC. KFC is very hit or miss, but when it's good, it's good. It's just it hasn't been good lately, which is
It has been a couple of years, just like Christian Kirk.
Yeah, sometimes it's injured. Sometimes it's just not as crispy as it should be.
What fast food order is Will Anderson?
Will Anderson is just a solid ass number 2 from Whataburger. Whata size. Like he is, it's faithful. It's always there. It sometimes it's not there for you as strong because there's inconsistencies with attendance every once in a while, like an ankle injury. But he's a number 2 from Whataburger.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right, this one's a little bit out there. What is CJ Gardner-Johnson?
CJ Gardner-Johnson? CJ Gardner-Johnson he's a Jack in the Box jumbo jack with 2 tacos.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes Jack in the Box tries to do too much, but when it's just solid and there's a good foundation, it's good. You throw in some extra stuff. You can throw in extra, and CJ Gardner-Johnson is very extra. But sometimes you don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes he's going to try to put some damn egg rolls on the menu. He's going to try to
don't hate on their egg rolls. Their egg rolls were good.
You try to drench the damn fries with cheese and all that type of stuff. But he's just a jumbo jack with 2 tacos on the side.
Okay. Here's a fast food hack for the folks, by the way. If you order your 2 tacos, no lettuce, they got to make them fresh for you.
Oh, God.
The
old fry trick.
They got to make them fresh for you.
Someone says Churches has stepped their game up. I'm very intrigued by this new logo. I do think I need to give Churches another try. I'm intrigued by that because if you're willing to do a complete rebrand like Churches has with like the new colors and everything, I'm in. I'm in on that. I haven't had Churches in a minute.
I do love a Church's biscuit. What is Titus Howard?
Chipotle queso.
Oh!
Chipotle queso.
Nobody's Chipotle queso. That's the worst thing going.
You thought that you needed it, so you added it. It wasn't awesome, and it's overhyped. There was multiple roles for it. Chips and queso, and they always try to force it down your throat no matter what. You just can't get rid of the queso as soon as you get the protein. And the other thing is they add stuff that's even more intriguing than the queso. So the honey chicken that they just added, or the barbacoa that they add. It's like the Ursery and the Blake Fisher. You're not really intrigued by it, but you're more intrigued by it than the queso, and it's just not overly great. Titus Howard is Chipotle's queso.
Wow, look. I've been disappointed with Titus the past couple of years. That may be a little harsh.
Sorry,
might be a little harsh.
Kyle says Chubbs has to be Wiener Schnitzel dog, right? I don't even know that still existed. Nick Chubb, Nick Chubb's.
I love Wiener Schnitzel. The closest one that I know of is over there on near West Oaks Mall. It's near the Dillards. It's near the Discount Dillards.
Never really indulged in the opportunity of that. Be honest with you.
Back in the day, Wiener Schnitzel's deals couldn't be beat. You get 10 hot dogs, 10 chili, or you get 10 chili dogs for like $10. It's great.
See, Texan Tangents is right. The parts around the queso are more important too. It's just more important. Yeah. Titus is Chipotle queso.
Yeah, I love me a little Wiener Schnitzel action. Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon is just, I mean, he's a number 5 at Whataburger. He's the bacon and cheese. He's the bacon cheeseburger, man. I mean, sometimes it doesn't hit as hard because of the bacon, but he's just a solid number 5. I think it's still a number 5. I'm always number 2, so don't know. Yeah, just solid number 5.
All right, let's see if I can get you on a deep cut here. What is Tim Settle?
Tim Settle? Oh God. Tim Settle is
this one's tough.
Tim Settle is probably Tim Settle's like he's like a Wendy's chicken sandwich. Not the spicy, but he's like a Wendy's chicken sandwich. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's terrible. Kind of depends when you get it. But the thing about Tim Settle, and this is the same thing with Wendy's. I don't know what happened, but when Dave died, this happened. The later you go, the worse it is. Later in the season that it goes, the worse it is. If you go there early, it's going to be on point. But if you go there later, it's going to kind of fall off. You go Wendy's past 10, you're asking for it.
Okay.
They keep that stuff under the damn lamp for a while.
All right, let's get one more in here. What is Kamari Lassiter?
Kamari Lassiter?
Order is Kamari Lassiter?
Kamari Lassiter is he's a 2-piece. He's just a solid 2-piece at Popeyes, man. Don't overthink it.
No nonsense.
No nonsense. I know they got the wings with like the sauce, and they got a lot of stuff. He is just the standard, solid, can't go wrong 2-piece at Popeyes with some red beans and rice or mashed potatoes. There's a little something in there, but it's very all business. But you got to have like the red beans and rice or the mashed potatoes, just all business, solid, no complaints. That's what Kamari Lassiter is.
And sometimes they'll talk some smack to you.
Yeah. Sometimes they'll kick. Sometimes that gravy kicks. Sometimes that red beans and rice kicks. It looks like it's just a traditional, no nonsense, black shoes type of meal. Sometimes when you dip that biscuit in that gravy, sometimes it kicks a little bit more. Sometimes that chicken kicks a little bit more too, depending how you get it. Beast.
Yeah. This is a good one from Houston. Derek Stingley's Chick-fil-A on a Sunday. Shut down.
Ooh, I like that.
That's good. That's well played, Hugh. That's a good job.
That's very
good
nice.
job. All right, that was Texans players as fast food items.
So there you go. It is June. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Very much so. So CJ Stroud, thank you for throwing. We'll see what happens with the facility. Texans are listening to all offers, and I think I'm kind of hungry right now. That is Texans players as fast food items, and Cody Stutes has an addiction to sodas. So
I do not.
Other than that, We're all good. Oh, don't act like that's normal. This right here. Come on.
78 cents at the Walmart. You get a liter.
Yeah, that is a 2024 Shaq Mason pancake block. You saw more of those than you do see this guy drinking water. So let's be serious about this.
I drink water every day. It's also usually have a soda there with me.
Subscribe, like, right along. Always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together.
Eat good, sleep good, be good. We'll talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.